Welcome to Ghouls Night Out with your hostesses, Brandy and Jody. Hello, beautiful ghouls. Welcome. This is Brandy. I am here with my sister, Jody.
Hello.
So I have some people who thought things were perfectly normal until they got older, and other adults were like, what the fuck are you doing?
I love these.
I know. As a way of expressing skepticism when I was in my teens, my mom would use the phrase, sure, and maybe monkeys will fly out of my ass. I did not realize this wasn't a common phrase until I said it to my friends. I guess it was something a friend of hers said, and she liked it, so she adopted it. I still use it with close friends sometimes. I think it should catch on.
I've heard it before.
I've heard that before. That's totally a saying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, she's got stupid friends.
Yeah.
Next one. My mom's side of the family always called heartburn or acid reflux a cheetah. And slow walkers chuddas. Whenever my dad or I needed something handed to us, we'd say, hand me that piano.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Is Mommy's little words for stuff.
Yeah?
I have never heard anyone else make up names for things like she did.
She was so creative and wonderful.
You gotta get your dinger, put your hair up.
I put her... That's still my favorite. Like, forever. I will never forget that. That's hilarious.
And the tuner.
The tuner!
That's a remote for people that don't know. And the dinger is a hair tie.
Yes. We've talked about the dingers.
Yes.
Okay. My mom thought... Oh my god, this one is hilarious. Okay. My mom thought going commando meant like going crazy.
Oh no.
I learned this when she had an issue with her bank and she texted me that she was going to go commando on them. Holy shit, that's hilarious.
It would have been even better if she went to the bank and was like, I'm going to go commando on you.
Oh my god, you're right. Could you imagine the people working there? Holy shit, what?
They'd be like, really?
Please not in public, man.
She would have been so confused.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. When my son was around 6, he called diarrhea melty poos, and we still use it 25 years later. I like it.
Like the Hershey squirts?
Yeah. My pre-K classroom had an ABC chart with different words for every letter, and N was narwhal. My 28-year-old at the time dad very loudly said, narwhals aren't real. Holy shit, that's embarrassing. We always referred to a table lamp as the little light and the ceiling lamp light as the big light. When my now husband and I were dating, we went over to his place to watch movies, and he got confused when I asked him if we could turn on the big light, or turn off the big light and put on the little light. 20 years later, even our kids now refer to it as the big and little light. I learned the hard way that not everyone has seen the movie Airplane, and if you say, looks like I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue in mixed company, people might be confused. When I was a kid, we would get wheels of Colby cheese at the store, and when we would cut out a piece in a triangle shape, it looked like Pac-Man. So it has been Pac-Man cheese ever since. I'm 45. My kids call hard-boiled eggs round eggs and omelets flat circle eggs. That's what we call them now. Just little things like calculators will always be conculators to me. My mom called breasts bluebirds, and I assumed that was normal until high school.
Oh, yeah.
Bluebirds? What?
That doesn't even make sense.
Just say what it fucking... What's wrong with... Oh, my God. Okay. Quote, "Oh, that means the devil is spanking his wife. I told my now wife when it was sunny and raining. She looked at me horrified. I'd been told this since I was a kid. How inappropriate. And now that I have kids, what the fuck kind of message are you teaching?" That's when the devil is spanking his wife? Who are your parents?
Oh, really? Dang.
Sir. Okay. My parents always taught me to keep a toolbox in the trunk of the car for emergencies, but we never secured the toolbox, so it would slide and thump around in the trunk when we were turning or going over bumps. One day, my younger cousins were visiting, and we were on our way back after going to see a play at my high school. My cousins were obsessed with this girl, Emily, who had been in the play and kept asking us when we'd be able to see Emily again. So when we went over a bump and they asked what made that sound, we said it was Emily. For whatever reason, it stuck. So now anytime we need tools from the trunk, we talk about grabbing Emily.
That's great.
Oh, you'll see her soon. She's in the trunk. Growing up, the TV remote was called the channel changer. That is so boring.
Yes.
Once in a while, I automatically refer to it as the channel changer. For the most part, people have a good idea of what it translates to. Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. I had a hard time stopping with the tuner.
The tuner? Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Dinger was very hard for me, too. Like, when I had kids. Well, I remember still saying it when I had Tyrion. Somehow it stopped, but yeah. She probably knows. I'll need to ask her if she remembers what a dinger is. When we were kids, my little cousin said belched or pooted and said, "Excuse me, I birded." She'll never be able to live it down. We keep a lot of mispronounced words going in our family. That's cute. In my extended family, seppies is a question you ask a small child or a dog to suggest that they should go to bed or take a nap. I assume it's a mispronunciation of sleep. But we still use it among the adults when someone gets a bit cranky or seems tired.
That reminds me of that TikTok. Did you ever see the Schweppes TikToks?
No.
There was a kid, and he was, trying to make I guess it was a funny, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he pronounced it Shua Peepees. And then, of course, other people would make TikToks where it was making fun of it. It was hilarious.
Holy shit.
He's like, he's like looking at the word, and he's like, Shua Peepees. The first time I heard that, I was cracking up.
That's hilarious. Oh, my God. Well, yeah, if you sound it out, I mean.
That is not how I would sound it out.
I would hope I wouldn't either, but you never know with me and Caligula, Who knows what I'm going to say? Okay, so I feel his pain. My great aunt Mertis and great uncle Curtis were twins. Don't. That is horrible.
Yes, it is.
Whenever the family would be driving anywhere, each car had a walkie-talkie. Whenever Mertis would be driving and couldn't keep up, she would walkie-talkie and ask how fast he was going, and the answer was always 32, Mertis. Anytime my family gets together, if someone asks a question, the answer is 32, it's always 32, Mertis. Mertis and Curtis.
That's horrible.
Why would their parents do that to them?
I don't know.
Curtis is fine.
Yeah, but it's like
But
they just picked a letter.
Yeah, like to force that
Yeah.
is... No,
Mertis.
they totally could have done better than that.
They could have done way better than
How
that.
dare you, Mertis's parents. Horrible. I have no idea how it started, but as a child, my family always referred to the living room as the other room. I didn't know the term living room until I was in middle school. They probably thought it was morbid because it is.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
I mean...
And I never understood the difference between a family room and a living room.
You don't know what the difference is?
No.
A living room is named a living room because in the olden days, you had funerals in your home.
Yeah, I know.
So
I get that part.
Yeah.
I understand that, but so what?
There is no difference. It's just, I mean, in the olden days there was a difference. Now there's not because we don't have funerals in our homes anymore.
Know how I did it? So when I used to have a house that had a living room and a family room, the family room I called the family room is the room that we all stayed in and did stuff, and the living room was the other room that we didn't do anything in.
Really?
Yeah.
That would have been completely flipped for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, in your old house, that room would have been the front room.
Oh.
You would have had the front room and the living room. Because, like, you walked into that room. So that's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Kind of like the foyer, if you will.
It was a waste of space. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
It was your fish tank room.
It was a formal living room, I guess.
But anyway, I mean, now I would have called that the front room. And then you would have had the living room, you know. That's funny. Anyway... my husband's name is Kyle. My mischievous 2-year-old son thinks it's hilarious to call us by our names instead of mom and dad. So when we raked up a pile of leaves this fall, he misheard and called it Kyle of Leaves.
Oh my gosh.
That's kind of cute.
That is cute.
Whenever my kids say we are going to do something when it should be just one person doing the task, or implying that I too will be doing the task that they're supposed to be doing, I say, who's we? You got a mouse in your pocket?
Well, that's a normal one too.
When I was very little, my family used to call strawberry milk rabbit milk. I never actually thought it came from rabbits, but I did think it was the pink equivalent to chocolate milk, which comes from brown cows. I was thankfully relatively young when I realized it was a family nickname, but it took me longer, like 2 years longer, to realize we called it rabbit milk because it was made with Nesquik. That's funny.
That is funny. And when you first said rabbit milk, that's the immediate picture I got in my head was that Nesquik rabbit.
Really?
Yep.
I did not put that together at all. I was like, why in the world? Like, because it's pink? Does that have anything to do with rabbits at all? I grew up in an Italian family, and we always ate Italian bread with meals. When I bought sliced bread, my family called it American bread. I was in my late 20s when I asked someone if they wanted American bread, and they said, what the heck is that? I still often refer to sliced bread as American bread. That's funny.
Yeah.
My brother was 4 and about to throw up when he realized that you salivate a bunch beforehand. We forever use this description, my mouth is getting juicy. Gross. And it alarms almost anyone outside of our movie.
Yeah, it does.
It does, but gross. Don't say juicy. When I was little, I used to call rolling down the window, blowing down the window, and I can't get rid of saying it. So whenever I'm in the car with someone and I ask them to blow down the window, they look at me weird and I have to correct myself.
Yep.
My family calls Parmesan cheese shaky cheese. Since you shake it out of the container, From this, you can gather that we obviously would not grade our own cheese. I thought it was what everyone called it until no one knew what I was talking about in college. And that was my last one.
Oh, those were good.
Shaky cheese. I like it.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right. So this week I did 10 crazy things people or animals have done in their sleep.
Ooh. Okay.
With remote work gaining traction recently, productivity has been a top priority. Now more than ever, writing emails and having virtual meetings seems like second nature. For some individuals, sending emails can even be done in their sleep.
Oh.
A New York Times article reports on a woman's experience where she had supposedly sent several emails during an 8-minute period in the middle of the night when she was sleeping. It also noted that all the messages had unusual capitalization, punctuation, and language. "Help me, please," was the subject of one message, followed by an invitation for dinner and drinks in another. The patient's friends were confused by these emails, and the patient had no recollection of sending them. So it's important to set those work-life boundaries and close your laptop once it hits 5 p.m., especially if you have a past habit of sleepwalking. Otherwise, you might see a few confused emails in your inbox the next morning.
How embarrassing.
Could you imagine?
No. Help me, please. Oh, my God. That is horrible. Oh, my gosh. Why would her brain do that to her?
Oh, I don't know. Number 9. Walking a mile is tough enough, but a woman in Colorado was able to walk 9 times that amount in her sleep. According to an ABC News article, 19-year-old Taylor Gamble went missing for hours on Tuesday morning before she woke up, miles from her home. However, she later told the police that she had no memory of her sleepwalking adventure, even though she had strayed about 9 miles from her Denver home. She was also found still wearing her pajamas and wearing no shoes. Since she was found without an ID, wallet, or money, the article states that the likelihood of her taking a bus or car is doubtful. Fortunately, Gamble was able to return to her home unscathed. Her ability to walk 9 miles while asleep is as impressive as it is scary.
That is terrifying.
That is, yeah.
Anybody could have grabbed her.
Yeah.
She would have had no clue. Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Number 8. Sleep eating is a common affliction, and as humorous as the condition may sound, it's a disorienting thing to experience. According to an ABC News article, more than 1 million people have experienced this unusual eating pattern, most of whom are women. However, the reasons for sleep eating are still not fully known. The article then interviews a woman named Amy Cochler, a person who suffers from this condition. The article recounts that after falling asleep, Cochler would get up and toddle to the kitchen almost every night, find a snack, and eat it without ever waking up. Oh. So if you wake up next to delicious snacks frequently, it might be wise to get yourself checked out.
Oh my gosh, that would be awful. Could you imagine trying to be on a diet?
Oh my gosh. Why am I getting so fat? I'm not eating.
You realize, everything's gone in the morning. What did I do?
Number 7. That's right, sleep eating isn't just for humans. Reindeer, not to be mistaken for the ones that help Santa deliver presents, prepare for the strenuous Arctic winter by training their bodies to replenish themselves in their sleep. Smithsonian Magazine references a study that noticed the more time reindeer chewed their food, the better rested they seemed. After analyzing the brain recordings of the reindeer, the researchers found that when the reindeer chewed their food, their brain waves resemble those during non-rapid eye movement sleep. Because they seem to enjoy the benefits of such sleep while serenely chewing their cud, the animals are rested after ruminating. This allows the animals to fatten up while battling the harsh Arctic climate.
Very interesting.
Number 6. A man camping with his friends unsuspectingly fell asleep in a hammock only to wake up at the bottom of a cliff.
What?
Shortly after falling asleep in the hammock, Ryan Campbell was soon overtaken by a case of sleepwalking. His friends watched in surprise as Campbell walked over a nearby cliff and plunged 70 feet to the ground below. An ABC News article reported on the situation that he had a stroke of luck in his sleep, and the officers found him with few injuries. The rescuers noted that Campbell's safe landing occurred because he landed in a rhododendron bush rather than on the rocks and boulders that littered the area. As he made a full recovery, he promised the interviewers that from then on he was not planning to put himself in a position where that happened again. So sleepwalkers, take Campbell's experience as a warning not to fall asleep near a cliff.
You've got to be kidding me.
That is horrifying.
It was not his time to go.
I guess
shit.
not. And plus, I think since he was asleep,
He was relaxed.
He was relaxed,
Yeah.
so he didn't
Oh
tense
my
up,
God. Oh my God. But the fact that he landed in a bush
Yeah.
next to rocks, oh my God.
He got lucky.
Fuck yeah, he did.
I like the part where it said his friends watched him. What the fuck? You couldn't stop him?
Okay, could you imagine, like, they probably didn't know he was asleep, and they were like, okay, he's going to be stopping any second.
They probably
right?
thought he was going over there to, like, take a piss or something.
Yeah. And then he walked the fuck off. Oh my God.
They probably all, like, died a little bit.
Absolutely. I would be fucking traumatized.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh my God.
Okay, number 5. Lee Hadwin is an interesting case, as his artistic ability can only be harnessed when he's asleep. BBC News reported on his fascinating origin story, stating that when Lee Hadwin was 4, he would scribble on the walls. While this is not surprising behavior for a child, there was one thing that made it different. He was asleep when he did it. In his interview with BBC, Hadwin stated, "At the age of 15, that's when the art started to become really intricate, and I drew 3 small Marilyn Monroes. What was strange is that I've got no artistic talent in my waking life. It's difficult for people to wrap their heads around how Hadwin can accomplish such a feat, which is why many are willing to pay for the chance to own his artwork. It seems that he sold several of his pieces for thousands of dollars, some for even hundreds of thousands, and he's able to give back in the process. He donates a portion of each sale to charities like Amnesty International." That is cool.
That is fucking cool. And he gets to earn money while he's sleeping?
Yeah,
Fucker.
I know.
Jealous. That is crazy.
It's crazy that he can do it while he's asleep, but not when he's
I know.
awake.
What?
That is weird. Number 4. An ex-chef has found that his habit of sleepwalking has turned into sleep cooking. As difficult as it sounds, 55-year-old Robert Wood was reported on by Daily Mail stating that he gets up 4 or 5 times a week while asleep and heads to the kitchen where he has previously made omelets, stir-fries, and chips.
Wow.
However, as cool as it sounds to be able to cook recipes skillfully in your sleep, this has been a scary experience for Wood and his wife.
Yeah.
Wood has been seeking out medical help amid fears he could burn down his house. So as cool as the concept of becoming a chef in your sleep sounds, it's important to remember the hazards of doing certain things while sleepwalking.
Yeah, that could be dangerous.
Number 3. For most, it's customary to open your window in the morning to let the sunshine wake you up before you start your day. However, teenager Rachel Ward took a more unconventional approach while sleepwalking. According to a Daily Mail article, Rachel Ward got out of bed, dressed, and then walked to the window before making her dramatic, unconscious exit. She plunged 25 feet to the ground.
Oh my God.
As scary as this was for Rachel and her parents, who hurriedly took her to the hospital, the outcome was a relief. After having a series of tests, including x-rays and CT scans, the doctors kept her overnight but couldn't find anything wrong. They were amazed and couldn't understand it. She must have collapsed like a rag doll because she was still asleep. Rachel stated that she was completely fine and only had a minor backache to show from this shocking experience.
Holy shit. That's awful. kind of funny. She must have landed like a rag doll. So she was like out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. She got dressed and everything. Oh my God.
That is so crazy. Number 2. Sleep talking is one of the most common activities for those who struggle with sleep, and studies have shown that even dolphins sleep talk. However, dolphins may do the equivalent of an English speaker sleep talking in French. According to an article from Live Science, a group of dolphins were observed making whale-like noises late at night, despite the fact that they have only heard whale sounds as recordings during their daytime dolphin shows. Dolphins have always been one of the more intelligent animal species observed, and this study may show that the animals may be recounting their daily shows in their heads, including the pre-recorded whale sounds they hear. The article states that it's possible the dolphins are even asleep as they make the whale-like noises, meaning they are essentially sleep-talking in whale. With these findings, researchers have paved a new direction for more investigation on dolphin intelligence and learning processes. So if you weren't already convinced of how intelligent dolphins are, maybe this changed your mind.
Wouldn't that be like us barking in our sleep?
Yes! I can talk dog now.
I heard it all day.
All right. And then number 1. While these stories have recounted entertaining or non-life-threatening situations, it's important to remember the dangers of untreated sleepwalking and other sleep conditions. As stated by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, sleepwalking is an underdiagnosed condition that may be clearly associated with daytime consequences and mood disturbances, leading to a major impact on quality of life. While it's commonly known not to wake a sleepwalker, there are other solutions that people should be aware of as well. The Cleveland Clinic provides several non-medication approaches such as relaxation and stress management techniques, mental health therapy, or scheduled waking to reduce the prevalence and harm of sleepwalking. So while sleepwalking isn't usually serious, it's important to know the risks and how to mitigate them. I guess that wasn't actually a story.
That's still scary. That I couldn't imagine being a sleepwalker.
Oh, I know. I remember Eric, my ex-husband, talking about when he was younger, he used to sleepwalk.
I think I slept walk like once. Like when you're younger, it's more common.
Yeah. I wasn't I think Kelly was a sleepwalker too.
Really?
I didn't sleepwalk. I talked a lot in my sleep.
The only thing was I moan, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I think I used to do that. I would wake myself up doing that.
Yeah, I've done that.
But I haven't done that in years.
I still do that every now and then. All right, I've got some unexplainable stories.
Okay.
I was 13 and dreaming. In the dream, I was looking out of my bedroom window that faced east. It was a crystal clear day, no clouds in the sky, but the air felt weird. I heard static far away, like a radio station out of range. It got closer and closer. I could hear people talking, but couldn't make out what they were saying. I just knew that they were in an airplane and could see it coming into view from my window. It looked like a Fisher-Price toy airplane. The static sound got louder and closer. As the sound got closer, I saw a lightning bolt standing horizontally, gliding across the field outside my window. The plane and the lightning bolt were headed right toward each other. When they crashed into each other, there was a huge explosion. Fire was everywhere. I could hear bodies falling to the ground and people screaming out of pain. I woke up in a complete panic and ran to my parents' room, crying to my mother. When we went downstairs and told my grandmother about the dream, they were both pastors, so they prayed with me, and then we went about our day. 3 days later, 9/11 happened.
Ooh.
We have 3 young children who will come into our room late at night while we were sleeping. They will usually come to my side of the bed and whisper something to me that always startles me. One particular night, early morning, I woke up to use the restroom. I felt wide awake, which is important to note. As soon as I got back into the room, I lay down and got under the covers. At that very moment, I heard a very distinct and loud whisper say, "Daddy." It startled me. I popped up to see which child needed me. Nobody was there. It freaked me out, and I almost woke my wife up to tell her. I didn't, but I mentioned it to her in the morning. She proceeded to remind me that that day would have been the 6th birthday of the baby that she miscarried. I'm not sure how to explain it, as it was so clear that someone said "Daddy," but it didn't come from any of my children. I was definitely wide awake, and neither one of them was there. I think about it often, and I'm spooked by it, but I'm sort of comforted by the thought that it was our child letting us know it was with us.
Oh,
I know. When I was about 19, I lived with my grandparents in Connecticut. There was a huge section of 2 highways, Interstate 84 and Route 8, that cross each other. All 4 directions are separate over/underpass. Everyone calls it the mixer. While driving home east on Route 8 late one night, doing the speed limit in the middle lane, probably about 65, I felt someone tap gently on my left shoulder. I was driving alone. I don't know why, but I suddenly felt compelled to move to the right lane. It saved my life because not 2 minutes later, a small truck came flying by me in the lane I was just in. You would have to ignore all the red and white "Do Not Enter" signs to get on the highway going in the wrong direction, and you would have to be on there for quite a while because there are several miles between exits and entrances. I don't know who or what saved my life that night, but it still chills me 20 years later.
That's creepy.
Yeah. I was going to a concert with a friend and made an appointment to get my hair cut that morning. I figured I would look nice for the concert if I got it done that day. However, I realized my 11 a.m. appointment would conflict with my daughter's nap time, and I didn't want her to be grumpy while my mom watched her for me, so I switched it to the night before instead. The morning of the concert, my salon was on the news. The ex-husband of one of the stylists, her chair was next to my stylist, came into the salon at 11:09 and murdered her as well as 2 other people. He shot 4 others before shooting himself. Had I been at the salon, I very well could have been murdered.
That is scary.
Yeah. I thought it was such a dumb thing to be like, oh, she's supposed to take a nap at the... But I'm glad she freaking did.
yeah.
Holy shit. When my daughter was in her 20s, we were playing a game, and the question was about a reoccurring dream. She said when she was little, in our first house, she would dream she saw the Grim Reaper. I was shocked. I slept one night in her room and also saw the Grim Reaper. After we moved out of that house, the family that moved in had a child die in that room when the house caught on fire. All the time I lived in that house, I kept telling my daughter what to do in case of a fire and how to wrap her baby sister in her pillow and climb out the window. I bought an escape ladder and showed her how to use it. After we moved into our next house, I didn't feel the same need to teach them how to escape, but I did get awakened in the middle of the night by the fire alarm that no one else heard. It was horrible to learn about the child dying in the same bedroom where my daughter and I... What is that? It scared the poop out of me.
It does that occasionally. And every time it makes me jump.
I'm talking about the freaking Grim Reaper. And
it sounds like the vent popping.
Oh, yeah.
But it scares me every time.
Yeah, that scared me. Anyway, I think that story was done, so I'm going to move on. I am a single woman alone in my new tiny house built in rural area in Amish country. I was curled up in my comfy chair watching the 11 o'clock news. Behind my chair was a short hallway going back to 2 bedrooms and a bath. The picture on the screen changed to a side view of my room with me sitting in the chair watching the TV. I even saw myself sitting up and leaning forward toward the TV in this view. I then saw a man dressed in Amish garb walking toward me with his arms raised on the screen. By then, I jumped up and turned away from the TV to see who was there. Nothing. No one. I turned quickly back toward the TV to see if I could see where he went, but the screen had changed back to the news. The following days, I asked my neighbors if anything weird had happened to them, and they told me that their grandfather had just walked away one night and was never seen again.
That is creepy.
Where did the camera fucking view come from?
I don't know.
Oh my God. My husband and mother were always close. When she was in hospice and dying in 2009, he and I took turns sitting with her, waiting for the end. She was in a coma and didn't respond to our voices or any kind of stimuli. The night she died, my husband went home around midnight after sitting with her for several hours, and I took over to be at her bedside. At 3:30 a.m., she took her last breath and was pronounced deceased. I decided not to call him, but just go home, as we lived fairly close to the hospice. So I gathered up her things and drove home, arriving at about 4:15. My husband was in bed when I was arriving, but still awake, and the first thing he said to me was, "Sorry I missed your call. I've been lying here waiting to hear she had passed, but when you called, I couldn't get my glasses on and get the light on in time to answer it. By the time I said hello, nobody was there. I knew I hadn't called him, and I also hadn't yet told him that she had passed. So when I asked him when the call came in, he told me it was 3:30 a.m. We're convinced it was my mom calling him to say goodbye at the moment her spirit left her body because she wanted him to know she was leaving. There was also no indication that on his phone that he had received a call at that time. Just thinking about it gives me chills." That's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet, though.
Yeah. When I was 10, I was in a bad rollover accident with my mother and younger sister. We had hydroplaned in our Jeep Cherokee, spun out several times, and the car had flipped and came to rest on its passenger side. Some weak and spindly trees held up the Jeep on a shoreline of a small lake. If those trees gave way, we were going in the water. Our area was not densely populated at the time, and the chances of anyone arriving soon to help us were slim. This is also way before cell phones and the like. Our mom managed to pull herself out of the driver's side door and immediately yelled, "Oh, thank God. My children are in the car. Please help me." I hoisted my little sister up to my mom first, and then she pulled me out. As I emerged from the car into the rain, I saw a smiling man standing on the bank with outreached arms. He was wearing a full white three-piece suit and had blonde hair down to his shoulders. My mom handed me to the man, and he clasped me firmly to his chest as he carried me back up to the shoulder of the road. All I remember thinking was, why isn't he wet? We were all soaked to the bone in this torrential downpour, but this man in white was completely dry. After getting my sister and me to safety, he helped my mom. She ran up the incline to my sister and me, hugging us and crying. She turned to thank the man, and he was gone. We could see for at least a mile in any direction, and he just ceased to be. A neighbor happened upon us shortly after, and she saw nothing of the man either. Nearly 40 years later, we still remember him with absolute clarity. Don't want to think about what would have happened if we had stayed in that car. Apparently that happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law died a few years ago, right after Christmas. She had lived in my husband's childhood home until 3 years before her death. She moved to an assisted living and eventually died in the nursing home. We sold the house when she moved out and shut the phone line down. A year later, after she died, our phone rang. It was 2 a.m. on Christmas Eve. We never answered the phone and would wait for the answering machine to pick it up to hear who it was. There was no message. I went over to the phone to check the caller ID. The last number was received by my husband's childhood phone number. That phone number has been disconnected for over 3 years. I called back the number, and there was a recording saying the number had been disconnected. I told my husband, and he told me to recheck the caller ID, but the number was gone. I think my mother-in-law was wishing us a Merry Christmas. I was driving down the highway getting ready to take an off-ramp. My friend was in the car with me. All of a sudden, I got a terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I felt certain the car was going to hit us. The roads were a bit slick with light coating of ice. I turned to my friend and said, "Something's not right. I think someone's going to hit us." She said, "Stop it, really?" As we took the exit, I immediately pulled over to the shoulder. Only then did I realize there was a car turned sideways on the ramp ahead of us. Another car came up behind us going full speed and slammed into the stopped car. We both jumped out of the car. She called 911 and ran over to see if she could help. I grabbed my emergency kit from the trunk and ran to the end of the ramp to put down flares. By the time we got back, she was sobbing. One person was deceased and others were injured. We did our best to provide comfort until help arrived. That's scary.
That's always so crazy to me.
I know. Like, what made her pull over?
Yeah.
Like, what was that? One night when I was around 11, I got really sick and started throwing up. Eventually, I stopped and went to bed. It was around 3 a.m. Even though I was tired, I couldn't fall asleep. I had a really creepy feeling that someone was watching me. I told my parents that I didn't want to sleep in my bed because I wanted to be close to the bathroom, and they didn't question me. We moved 2 of our couches together and threw some pillows on it, and I went to sleep. At about 3:30, I woke up to voices in my head. I clearly remember them talking about how they were going to kill me. I didn't fall asleep until 6 a.m. In the morning, I told my mom about the voices, and she suggested that we burn some incense. We did, and it must have worked because I never heard the voices again. Later that day, some police came by our house asking if we had seen 2 runaways dressed in black with yellow safety vests. The police said that they were running around staring into people's windows.
Ugh.
That's creepy. In 1985, I used to travel every few months for a weekend to a nearby city to unwind from the rigors of medical school. One weekend, I met with a friend and went out for dinner and a few drinks. He left early, around 9 p.m., since he was heading out for a field trip to a local picnic spot by a river with some friends the next morning. As he was leaving, I said goodbye, and he seemed to disappear in a cloud of smoke. I've never seen anything like that before or since. A few weeks later, I found out he had died trying to save 2 friends from drowning. And this is my last one. One night, I woke up unbearably thirsty, which had never happened before or since. I got out of bed, walked down the long hallway to the kitchen, and helped myself to a tall glass. Mid-gulp, the place didn't feel right. I set the glass down with a few swallows left in it and edged back toward the hall. I looked behind me and saw my mother's pale form reaching her hands out to me with a beseeching look on her face. Utterly terrified, I ran back to bed. We weren't close, hadn't spoken in about 10 years, her choice, and she lived on a different continent. I learned 2 weeks later that she had died that night.
Ooh.
That is creepy.
I got chills on that one.
Me too. Holy shit.
It's time for the witty wrap-up.
Yay, witty wrap-up.
I just did funny tweets.
Okay.
When my 4-year-old woke up, she said, "I'm so excited for my party today," and I have no idea what she's talking about.
That's cute. She planned some shit.
Your daughter has been training the other children to cry on demand, seemingly in order to disrupt the class, is among the many things that parenting books have not prepared me for.
Oh, God.
3-year-old, "Mommy, I want more chicken leaves for lunch." That's what she calls a chicken Caesar salad.
Chicken leaves? That's great.
Kids always choose the best time to ask silly questions. You'd be out at a baptism ceremony, and your kid will ask, "What does it mean when you do this?" And they hold up their middle finger.
Oh, shit.
My oldest son informs me that it's been 3 weeks since he graduated high school, and he still hasn't used trigonometry.
You won't.
That's cute. It's the baby's birthday. I say happy birthday. He says, "It feels so nice to be 6 again." What do you mean, sir?
Seriously, what did it mean?
I don't know.
What is that?
That's why I was reading it again.
Is that
It's
a
like, it's the baby's birthday. I say, happy birthday. He says, it feels so nice to be 6 again.
Is he remembering the first time he was 6?
I don't know.
Reincarnation?
I don't know.
Weird.
Yesterday was a day that will go down in infamy in our family as the honey incident. The 3-year-old brought a full container of honey to her room, opened it, and the 1.5-year-old spilled the whole thing and spread it all over the room. I will be reminding them of this until I die.
Oh my gosh. You might as well just throw everything
Everything. Just pitch it.
Oh my gosh.
It's important to open your kids up to a variety of sports when they're young. Soccer, baseball, deathmatch wrestling, their brother on the living room floor. All great options.
Hey, that's what kids do, right?
On a road trip. Kids, ooh, a Waffle House. Can we eat there? Husband, hard pass. I've seen y'all fight, and frankly, it's not going to cut it.
Definitely rumbles going on at Waffle House.
End of school is wild. Just this week, my kid has brought home 2 notebooks I bought, 4 notebooks I didn't, 3 water bottles, 18 art projects, and the lost city of Atlantis. My 5-year-old only has 2 modes, loud and louder.
Yeah.
Have teenagers so you can wake up in the morning to a random trash can inside a trash bag sitting by the back door. Why?
What? Oh my gosh. Birth control. Jesus, what is that?
I don't know. At a restaurant. All right, kids, what combination of starch and cheese are you going to have this time?
That is so true.
It is. If you have kids under the age of 6 and fun plans this summer, do not tell them about the fun plans until you are literally arriving at the plans, pulling up to the gate.
Oh yeah, by the way.
Watching too many cooking shows like Hold On Kids, we need to let the chicken nuggets rest a few minutes. And my last one. I'm confident the inventor of the kazoo did not have children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. And that's all I got.
All right. Thank you for listening. Send in your stories. We need them. goalsnightoutpodcast@gmail.com. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. And we will talk to you in a couple weeks.
Later.
Bye.